I'm sure you have heard that genes determine your looks and everything comes down to genetics. But what exactly are genetics, and how are they influenced by our environments? And are our looks solely a product of genes, or can they be shaped by the way we live? Firstly, what are genes? Simply put, genes are heredity information, stored DNA that is passed from an organism to its offspring. Now, why is this important? Well, it's because this means genes are not random in the sense that a lion cannot magically give birth to a monkey with entirely different genes. In the same way, someone with good genes cannot give birth to someone with bad genes, and so on. And an important thing to understand about nature is the strongest organisms with the best genes reproduce the most. This basically means that bad genes do not exist in nature. For example, have you ever seen a giraffe with a short neck? No, only the good long neck genes passed on due to it being a preferred trait, and over thousands of years this is how organisms evolve. In the same way, humans have genetic traits that were passed on throughout most of our history as they were necessary for our survival. An example is a gene known as the Hox gene. This is the gene that determines the body plan of humans. It's what ensures we all develop 2 arms, 2 legs, a head, and body in the right way. Now, if this gene was mutated, it would lead to incorrect growth of the body plan. Yet this essentially never happens. Why? Because genetics are not randomly changed. They practically stay the same if the environment remains the same. This is why you don't see any wild animals develop these mutations, whereas they occur more frequently in humans. Radiation is a perfect example of environment affecting genetic expression, as it often results in the quickest and most notable change. But most environmental factors affect genes even if only slightly. This is the idea of epigenetics, and one of the most important factors determining gene expression is nutrition. Now, it's important to know, I am not solely talking about your nutrition, but the nutrition of your ancestors. Humans are the only organisms who suffer from developmental issues. You will never see a wild animal with a recessed jawline, because they and their ancestors have always had an optimal environment. However, we have seen that when exposed to human environments, many animals do and will degenerate, as shown perfectly in Pottinger's cat study. Epigenetics are demonstrated all the time. The best example is instincts. Why are humans naturally scared of dark spaces? Why do we instantly wake up when falling backwards? It's because these were environmental behavior that allowed our ancestors to survive. Epigenetics is present all throughout nature. So why do we not realize that the environment can also worsen our gene expression? Just as I said before about no lion having a recessed jaw, no natural human does either. As the jaw is a trait that is adapted for a specific function, meaning that like our Hox gene it should be expressed in a correct way, this is why we find jaw recession unattractive and strange, as it is literally unnatural. I'm not saying every human would have the exact same jawline as Brad Pitt, but every human would have a functioning jaw where the teeth meet correctly and fully developed palates. However, nowadays, most people have some form of recession, hence why things such as braces have become commonplace, and FYI, genes don't factor in braces, meaning it cannot be a result of genes, but rather the compound effect of environmental factors on those genes. The same way we would naturally know a human with 3 arms is unnatural, is the same way we can tell a human with a recessed jaw has something wrong with them. Our genes are not supposed to express this way, but environmental damage can result in this expression. Now, the scary part is, the environmental factors are present from the moment you are in the womb, and potentially even before. For example, radiation can damage sperm cells, and this can lead to a cascade effect of issues for the gene expression of the child. Our environment affects gene expression, and organisms naturally look for genes that best suit their environment, proving genes aren't random. This is why we can tell the environment of someone's ancestors just by looking at them, as they will have different epigenetic characteristics such as phenotype. Your phenotype is literally genetic adaptations to a specific environment, and these aren't random. They are literally directly influenced by the environment you are in. Most mammals have the same basic structure, but their differing environments determined how their genes would adapt. This process can occur quite rapidly. The best example are the animals in Chernobyl and how quickly their genes have changed to survive the irradiated climate. Now, some of you may bring up twins, But the issue with twin studies is simply that there isn't enough environmental differences. They have the exact same prenatal exposure. Their parents' environments was the same, and there was no way to ensure a drastic enough difference. Moreover, these changes, as shown by Pot and Eager, generally happen over generations, hence why a Chad won't degenerate to a sub-5. Even in a terrible environment, it would take multiple generations, and on the inverse, it's the same. Braces are necessary, because the damage is done. But if you fix your environment, you can start the process of reverting the damage for future generations. So it's important to understand genes aren't the end-all be-all, and environment, both yours and that of your ancestors, shapes how they are expressed. Genes are very important. They do influence every feature of your body, but genes are not magical lottery tickets. They are the amalgamation of the environmental adaptations and success of your ancestors. So it's only logical, if you change your environment into a less successful one, degeneration is bound to happen. And that's the reason why you have no jawline, not because of random chance, but the failings of your ancestors and yourself to achieve the adequate environment to facilitate correct development. So this is why it's so important, no matter where you are, to improve your environment, health, and thus yourself. As not only will you express more of your genetic potential, but you can begin to undo the generational damage to your genes as a result of worsening environments, and give your future generations the best chance possible.